Okay, everybody, let's do it. Let's get into hacking your habits. I am excited to play around with some of this, and you can tell me how you feel about it. I have personally had quite a challenge with. Can you see that screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And it's just the screen, right? Just what we're looking at is
Yeah.
hack your habits. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, so I've personally had a time with my brain implementing new habits, and sometimes when I feel a little overwhelmed with the amount of neurological drills that I'm taking because I'm so excited about them or I'm so obsessed with them, I have trouble organizing them and figuring out when a good time is for me to pair one of those drills with a habit or with something that I do anyway. I want to learn how to work with my brain and not against my brain. So that is the goal of this workshop. And we're going to actually use some physical drills in order to, make sure that the frontal lobe is training the way we need to start changing habits, because our brain wants to do exactly what it has done. It wants to save energy. That is its number one priority. So it does take effort to make change, right? But the brain is plastic. So we know that with this concept called neuroplasticity. We did not know that 30, 40 years ago. Oh, great. Page is on. Okay. So neuroplasticity, how do we make changes? Let me make sure that everybody is. I'm gonna just go ahead and mute you guys if that's cool. And if you have questions, please jump in and ask questions. Hey Paige, what's up? All right, so we're gonna learn a little practical magic for singers, setting goals, and sticking with new habits. All right, things that you will need later when we get to actual movement. Paige, we did a little bit of just moving our bodies to clear out all the stuff that's flying around my brain. But if you would like to sit and do a little bit of spinal movement or any high payoff drill for yourself, that can sort of unlock things and let you take in all new information. If you're shopping, no worries. Hang out and do all this stuff later. What we will be looking at and what you will need at some point is a paper bag, if you have one. If you don't, a plastic one will work. Or I have another version of the drill where you don't need a bag at all. This is just like a little lunch bag. This is for hypoxic training. And then something that smells good that is non-toxic. Okay. The rest of the things that are going to be on here, I've fit on the slides, so they shouldn't be a big deal. We're going to attempt to use my phone for an app download that will act as a good sort of saccades drill, which is an eye drill. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't, we'll figure out another way. Okay, so first, let's do all the fun, well, the boring stuff first, but like important stuff. This kind of education and exercise can be really powerful for a lot of people, and it will start to kind of reveal some of these underlying ways that you might be inadvertently sabotaging yourself. I don't know if that's you, but that's definitely me. So some of these things that we're going to learn about are what your fundamental nature are. What are these tendencies? So how do you naturally respond to expectations, either placed on you by outside sources or by internal choice? That's what we're going to be looking at. So an example is maybe somebody who's a boss has an expectation for you and you have to accomplish something. That's an outside source. Or you set your own goal, and how do you actually respond to that when you set a goal? That's what we're going to look at. Well, you as a person might have a fundamental tendency that might be influencing that. So as we look at this, we need to look at, well, what are your habits? How do you naturally respond to these expectations? Habits are a different thing. The fundamental nature is, outside source or an internal choice. And then a habit is a pre-decision that needs to be tailored to the nature of your fundamental tendencies, right? They eliminate the need for self-control, habits do. So I don't know if you've ever been driving somewhere and you just kind of arrive somewhere and you don't even think about going there because you've gone there so many times. That is a habit, right? You don't even remember getting there. So that's what we have to do to eliminate the need for self-control. And the fundamental nature is how you naturally respond to these expectations. So let's look at what is getting in the way of that conflict. We're going to dive into fundamental tendencies in a second, but the conflict between your fundamental nature and habits are why they rarely take hold. That's why we get frustrated. That's why we miss our goals. I can tell you personally, anytime I start some kind of new fitness program, if someone isn't depending on me, if I haven't signed up for that freaking class, I will find any excuse to make another priority and I will not go. So it's this unfortunate thing that happens with students as well. And I get frustrated with it. And I'm sure other teachers get frustrated with it too. But if a student does not have something on the books, some of us have a nature in which we prioritize other things and we don't practice, or we wait until, oh my gosh, there's an audition on the book. Here it is. It's here. Now I have to schedule a lesson. So if you are in fact investing in your lessons and you're trying to take advantage of everything that is possible during this time, you need to work with your fundamental nature in order to make the most progress. So let's look at fundamental tendencies. They're not good or bad. They just are. This is what your brain has learned in order to keep you safe. I want you to reflect a little on how this has influenced your previous change attempts. So when you start learning a new skill or you start implementing, some new things into your life, are you an upholder? Are you someone that accepts and follow rules? Do you meet deadlines? Do you follow orders? Yes, this is my husband. He is an upholder. He happens to also have OCD, so he is very much a follow the rule kind of person. And military guy, follow the rule kind of person. He's an upholder. So a questioner is someone that accepts rules and expectations, but only if it makes sense to you. You're not just a yes man. You don't just say yes, absolutely. You have to understand why before you commit to something. The next one is obliger. So you accept and follow outside rules, but you resist self-imposed ones. That one's closer to me, for sure. If I say, oh, I want to start eating new green things, yay, I'm going to do that. I will eat green things because they feel good. But then if my husband decides pizza is a new thing that we are doing all the freaking time because he's stressed and tired, man, is it hard to just eat green things when your husband is eating pizza. Yeah? Okay, the last one is a rebel. Okay, you resist control of any kind, either from inside or outside. This one, we're gonna have a little exception for later, and you have to come to a decision yourself. We have to be patient, and we're gonna allow for rebels to take the time that they need to do what they need to do to understand, to make that change. Can you write down whether you are an upholder, a questioner, obliger, or rebel? You can be more than one. I'm probably an obliger, but also kind of a rebel. Yeah. Okay. All right, moving on. So write down which ones you think fit you best. What are your fundamental tendencies? So this is kind of just breaking this down a little bit further. Check the word or write down the word between each pair that describes you. Are you a lark? Are you an early morning riser? Or are you a late night owl? Are you a marathoner or a sprinter? Underbuy or overbuyer? That's me. I'm definitely an overbuyer. I want to make sure we have food in the fridge. I don't know where that comes from, but it's a thing. And then I have to scramble to make sure that this is all happening. Oh, I see there's some chat. Rebel. Okay. Questioner. Obliger, rebel, or obliger, questioner. Okay, cool. So underbuyer, overbuyer, love of simplicity. See, this is tricky because I love simplicity, but again, I'm a little bit of an overbuyer in the fridge department. Or do you love abundance? Simplicity, abundance. Finisher, opener. I open lots of things. Not great at finishing them. I've had to really make myself try to figure out how to finish them. It feels really good though when it happens. Love of the familiar, or are you a love of novel? Do you like novel things? That's me. Lots of brains like novel things. We like novelty, but we also like to be comfortable. That's an energy thing. Do you like to promote growth, or do you prevent loss? How do you think? Are you a be good mindset or a get better mindset? Do you need to be good, or are we just getting better one step at a time? Small steps, big steps. I am super guilty of being a big step taker, not a small step taker. I have to work with my obliger, my rebel, figure out how I can be a small step taker, because obviously those are what achieve big steps. Confident or insecure, which one are you? I guess it depends on what area of life for me. I feel pretty confident most of the time, but there are some insecurities. All right, so write down a couple of those things, see if that sparks any ideas about how you are, how this has influenced your previous change attempts in forming new habits. Certainly, Lark, early morning riser, for me, I've been fighting this for a while because my husband stays up so dang late, and it's really hard for me to sleep. This idea that it's really hard for me to sleep if my husband is going to wake me up and come into bed later. So I have been trying to make up the sleep, and I just don't work out. I don't move my body if I don't do it in the morning. So I'm not fighting it anymore. All right, here we go. Keep moving. So we have to make sure that whether you are an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or a rebel, the action that you're taking, the strategy that you're taking is going through these fundamental tendencies, fundamental strategy filters in order to achieve your goals. And like I said, with rebels, they are special cases. We have to respect that. So you've got your own tendencies. You get to decide when it's time to change, and you have permission to be different. You may do all the exercises without any expectation of actual change, and that's okay. You'll come to it. All right. So let's get specific about actions for change before we actually jump into frontal lobe training and things that might help you make some of these changes. You're going to write a little working list of things that you might want to change or improve, or have something be different in your life. And they don't have to be health related. They could be a new skill, a new job, health related outcome, or something you have but you don't want. Think about what is it that you want? What is it you want to be, to do, or to have? Don't edit your list. Just let all of your thoughts fly out. We'll sort it. Then you need a specific guideline for your goal to make sure that they are measurable, they are attainable, reasonable, and specific. Avoid things like lose weight or get in shape, and make more specific targets. So I want to add 20 pounds to my strength, to my bench press. I got a very specific goal so that you can really, decide, did I achieve it or did I not achieve it? One of mine is I would like to get back to being able to do a double pirouette. I haven't been able to do that in a very, very long time, and only on one side. So my measurable goal is move from single to double pirouette, which means fix my inner ear issues. Among other things, foot flexibility, all those things. All right, so then we need to make sure that we are accomplishing goals through behavior change, through habit, and not setting something that's really hard to aim for. Add a fun filter. Are you good at it? Do you enjoy moving your body? Do you enjoy what it feels like to actually go to a dance callback and land a double pirouette, or be able to do that? Or are you just fighting to get through? That's me. Okay, do you have confidence in this new action? What is the cost of this goal? Or what's the cost of not committing to this goal? I don't really like how that makes my brain feel, but sometimes when I think about, oh man, we're thinking about having kids soon, and if I am not strong enough to lift a baby, my body's not going to adapt to that. My body's going to like give me back pain and all the other things. So that would be the cost of not committing to this goal now. Sometimes that helps my brain, sometimes that's overwhelming. So do you. All right, let's get to the actual movement part. Let's get to the how do I improve the frontal lobe, which is our decision making. Okay. If you struggle with any of these things, focus, ADHD, poor modulation of emotions, you have more poor movement control or lack of core stability. Hi, that's me. I'm the problem, it's me. Bladder control issues, difficulty reading. Sometimes I fall asleep in bed if I'm reading. Rhythmic issues in music. Depends on how late it is. These are definitely things that I see with students sometimes who need some frontal lobe training. So I'm just going to give you one example of being a little bit of a rebel, but figuring out, once I understood or was able to better make a decision, was able to kind of do what I needed to do to get some health stuff in order. I know I'm a little bit of a rebel and upholder, but I didn't really understand when someone told me to start looking into food sensitivity testing, and it just sounded very expensive. So I was like, I don't really buy into this whole gluten-free thing. I don't know what made me think that was not a thing for me. But I had to come to it on my own and decide, okay, well, maybe I should get this sensitivity testing to make sure my life is, a little bit better when I'm eating gluten, or when I'm starting to look at what I'm putting in my body. And that is a way that I realized, I'm a bit of a rebel, and I need maybe some frontal lobe training to help me with making these decisions. Okay, I don't need that to cost me any more of my life, so I went ahead and did that kind of stuff. Let's jump into other things that might pop up in students that might indicate frontal lobe trouble, and then we'll jump into actual frontal lobe training. Okay, if anybody here or any of your students have tinnitus or hearing loss, this is a frontal lobe issue. Avoiding, just disregard that. Avoiding loud or confusing sound environments. Wow, I did a really good job with that sentence. If it's a loud and a confusing environment and you just decide you're not going into it because, again, hearing loss, or maybe it's difficult to think in that setting, which is certainly me. I'm very sensitive to noises. This is something I'm going to start training. And long-term memory issues, maybe memorization in general with text, difficulty recognizing an object, faces, names, and scenes. Motion sickness. This could also be something that we need to work on. Apart from getting really cute glasses, I can show you really quick if you'd like. These are motion sickness glasses. I forget what they're called, but I'm happy to look it up for you. For your entertainment, this is what they look like. They're super cute. Yep, they help with motion sickness and inner ear training. So, all right, I will put those on a resource list along with a bunch of other things. All right, here is what we are going to look at for training today. We're going to inhibit the first brain and its primal emotions so that we can actually get more frontal lobe action, because that's what its job is. We got to inhibit the first brain. So we're going to look at hypoxic training, which are called VORC drills. That is eyes and inner ear at the same time. We're going to look at saccades, which are eye drills, some smell, and rhythm in drills, maybe some auditory mapping, the Stroop test, and it's going to make you mad, I promise. It's something that's going to bother you, or maybe you'll be really good at it and you'll test better. I test great with the Stroop test, but it makes me mad. Then OKN strips, which is an app that you can get on your phone if you're interested. It looks like this. Let me go ahead and get off of this share. It looks like OKN strips right here. And all it does, there's actually like a striped kind of looking sock that you can get, which basically does this. It moves side to side and your eyes jump to the target, okay? So we'll take a look at that and actually fully test that in a moment. Why don't we start with some hypoxic training? Does anybody have questions so far? Any specific requests about habit change, about frontal lobe, about obliger, rebel, questioner, all those kinds of things? No? Okay, great. So now let's go ahead and find some kind of assessment for your body that would be a good indication as to whether your brain is going to let you do these things today. Here's a lateral tilt of my neck. Oh, hey, this side's not so great today. Do not move into pain. Let me go ahead and pin myself here. There we go. All right, so there's my physical assessment. No moving into pain. But observe where you are today. And then take some kind of singing assessment, because we're here, we're doing singing. We're applying this stuff to singing. I think I'm just gonna do a basic little scale, maybe, hey, that's in the chest voice land. Just take a little assessment. There you go. Okay, you know, this low back is feeling real tight today. So I'm gonna also hit something like a forward bend. Let's really see where I am. Great, forward bend. Oh, okay. Very tight hamstrings. All right, so let's do the first one. This is gonna be hypoxic training, which basically means we are increasing your vocal stamina with reduced breathing. We're actually, most of us are over breathers as humans. So we can do the one without the bag first. This is just gonna be breathing in, breathing out, holding the breath and walking as many steps as you can before you feel the need to breathe. You'll count those steps and then you'll breathe and we'll calm your breathing after that, okay? So that's gonna basically be what's called the BOLT score, your blood oxygen level test. Okay, so go ahead and you can pace around. You can do this however you like. And again, we're gonna come back and do this with a paper bag, but let's try that together. So we're gonna breathe normally. Breathe in, Breathe out, and at the end of this breath out, hold your breath, go for a walk. Count your steps. Okay, 17 is what I got to, and I was really feeling the need to breathe. We're going to try that a couple of times, see if we can calm that urge, and as soon as you feel the need to breathe, go back into breathing and just let a little bit of air in. Okay, let's do that again. Breathe in, breathe out, hold. Woo, that was 14. Okay, retest your body. Well, my body liked that. Definitely gained a couple of inches. That's way better. Hey. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's clearly something I should be doing more often. Less air. Okay, any thoughts, feelings, tests? How did that go for you? Was that any different? Same? What was the urge to breathe like? Was it pretty intense? Yes, it was pretty good for you, Paige? Good.
It was interesting because it was like uncomfortable to go through the bolt test, but I did test better after that.
Same. And I felt like I needed to be honest with myself and do it again because I really tried to hold it. So that's why I did it a second time.
Yeah, same. Second time was the second time I could hold it longer, but I did test better. Yes.
Okay, great. So different versions of this that you can try in the studio practicing or with students are this walk and hold exercise. You can do squats. You can hold and do as many squats as you can, as long as you feel like you don't have any pain in your knees, things like that. Push-ups. That's another way you can do it. You can hold your breath, try to do as many push-ups as possible. Woo! I'm gonna assume that's gonna be real hard for me. And then here's another great way to do it. If you have a bag, plastic bag, paper bag, ideally paper. If you do not have one, that's okay. You can do it later. I'm just gonna show you what this is like on me. So here is my lateral neck test. All right, you're just basically going to place a paper bag over your nose and seal it like so. And now we're gonna let the CO2 do its job. Breathe deeply. I'm gonna set the timer for about 1.5 minutes. Deep breaths. Go for another 40 seconds or so. Deep breaths. Take 3 more breaths, nice and slow. Nice long exhale. And reassess. Oh yeah, this is way better. Just gonna show you my forward bend. I'm almost to the floor. This is so much better than when I started. Woo! Yeah, really good. Hey! I'll just mention that anxiety is much lower. This is a drill I use with folks who come in and tell me that their anxiety is really high any specific day. It does tend to help focus some of my students that do struggle with ADHD. This is not a prescription. I am not prescribing a drug. It is just CO2, but it is something that centers me, calms me, even when there's leaf blowers during a workshop. That's life. Okay, great. Any response to that? I'd love to know how that felt for you. If it felt better, worse, same, indifferent.
After a while, it did feel like I was running out of oxygen in there, but I was like, am I gonna get dizzy or not? But no, I did test better.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
and calmer too.
yeah, for most people, we are chronic overbreathers. If you're someone that has asthma, and it does feel too scary, too threatening to do this, then you want to do it in smaller doses. Definitely, a smaller amount of time on the timer. And then, same thing, you probably don't want to be doing push-ups right away or squats if you have asthma and your brain is going to be on high alert. You may not test better with these drills immediately. What I'm going to suggest is that you wait and you do it again. You make sure that you're fueled and you let your brain get used to it, because this is across the board something that has made folks test better or be more calm. Something I use at auditions if I'm feeling really anxious one day. Yeah. Okay, hypoxic training. We have had a little bit of that. The next thing is going to be VORC drills. So this is going to be fairly simple, but we are going to get some rib cage rotation in here. So if you have not moved your body at all today and your upper and lower back are kind of stiff, I'm going to have you just do that a little. We can do it again, you and me, Sarah. So we'll just glide side to side because we are going to be moving the ribs. We get into a lunge. I don't want any sharp pains. All right, and we'll go concave the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades, concave, squeeze. Oh, okay, and I'm just gonna have you twist a little bit too behind you. And we'll do one or two nice ragdolls. Beach ball. Oh, okay, the direction. Awesome. All right, VORC. So I do these banded at the gym, and particularly because my chiropractor is in my gym, I make sure to get all of my top priority neuro drills in right after an adjustment so that it lasts longer. If you want to know more about that, let me know, but that's basically eyes, inner ear, things like that, so that I am keeping that adjustment for longer. Okay, so we're gonna get into, let's start with just standing, feet about shoulder width apart. Now you're going to bring your thumb in front of you, and we are actually going to go on a diagonal, looking at your thumb and up across in this sort of C shape. Make sure that your eyeballs are staying on the target and your head is moving with it. Try to keep the target as clear as possible. We'll do 4. Now let's do 5. One more. Breathe. And we'll pick the other direction in a second. Reassess your body. Well, that's pretty good. It's about the same as the last drill. It was still much better. And I'm going to assess here. Yeah, still assessing well. Okay, well that feels a lot more warmed up. Just instantly in my lower middle. Hey! I think that's the best test so far. All right, let's do the other side and see how you feel. So feet, again, about shoulder width apart. Make sure you're stable. You can do this seated if you are starting to feel dizzy or if this is too much for you. You may feel that if you've had any kind of concussion, if you have inner ear or eye discrepancies. So let's either do this seated or standing, feet shoulder width apart. We'll go to the other side now. I'm going to make sure that there's no window distracting me here, and I'll go on the side. Here we go. 1. Keep breathing while you do this. 2. Keep the image clear. 3. 4. Oh, I can feel my eyes anticipating on this side. 5. And release. Woo! Okay, reassess. Heyo. Now I'm actually touching the floor. That was really good. Yeah, way better. Hey! Yep, feeling pretty good. So if that tested better for you, great. If it was kind of the same, then you need to upgrade it a little bit and maybe get into a different position that encourages more stability. Sarah, how did that test for you?
So when I did it with the right, it actually made it worse. When I did it with the left, it was better than before.
Okay, so we know more information about your brain now. We know that you have one side where your brain was like, no, thank you, not interested. Which means we have to decrease the input. I was just talking about increasing the input, but decreasing the input looks like this. You can lay down or you can sit. Take your brain's worry out of keeping you upright and sit on the ground or sit on a chair, and then you'll try that again, seated, and reassess. Okay.
The one that was bad, the one side that was making it worse, right?
The side that was harder. Now I'm going to just check out your eyeballs as you do it and make sure that you're staying on it. Great. Go ahead. Good. Slow that down just a little. Really follow that target. Your chin is going to go with the thumb, and so are your eyes. There we go. That's looking like a good rep. Breathe. Keep breathing. Chin moves too. Good, good, good. And one last one. Breathe. And reassess.
Yeah, same as after I did with the last one this time.
So better. So you tested better. Okay,
Yeah.
so we know that you need less input on this side in order to increase the payoff. Great. Awesome. Paige, you wanna give this a shot?
Could you check me? And do I use my glasses or do I not use my glasses? Because I'm nearsighted.
Good question. I feel like I would love for you to try it without your glasses, if possible. Yeah. If you're nearsighted, you can just bring this in a little bit, or you can challenge it, but just know that that's going to add to the drill. It's going to be convergent, like really challenging it. So
it's so humbling.
I know. If you want, I can probably see you if you just like pop this somewhere and the phone so you don't have to hold it.
Okay.
You can throw
Well,
it on the ground or wherever you
I mean, so I decided to sit because I know that that's worked for me in the past.
Okay.
Can you see my eyes?
Yeah, the only thing that might be a problem is the window if you go to that side.
About this.
Yeah, that's fine. Great. Awesome.
So
All right. Oh, hi, puppy. Make sure that, of course, it's okay. Make sure that your eyes are moving with your thumb. Good, much better. And your chin is moving at the same time. Keep breathing. Good. We're going to keep breathing. We like looking at things and moving our head. Breathe. That's probably enough reps. Let's try that. See where you are.
So I'm finding, like, I know I already have like some tension here, but like this side's completely open. It's like really, really bendy. This side is more so, it's good. It's probably about the same as it was, but I noticed the vocal change last time was like, I was a little bit more stiff.
Okay.
That was better.
Okay, better. Great.
Mm.
Awesome. So with eye drills specifically, I mean, if you know that like this is kind of intense for you, sitting is great.
Mhm.
And even if it feels a little intense or like um, it isn't testing better, you could lay down on the ground and do it. This is going to be a
Okay.
little tricky to do on the ground. You will only be moving about this much, right? On the ground.
Mhm.
Yeah. And ideally, we just don't want to distract your eyes from having frames. Because if
Yeah.
you're looking in and getting distracted, that could bother what's going on with those cranial nerves.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. I'm glad that tested better. Okay, so we did our VORCs. What is next? Saccades. Great. So VKN strips and saccades are basically about the same thing. They're just a little bit different. So I'll show you how to do them without this strips. We're going to take our assessment, make sure that you're not moving into any pain to check. And then I'm also going to say, Paige, keep your eyes open when you do this assessment. My inclination sometimes is to close because it just feels really good to stretch my neck. But make sure you're taking a good assessment and you're keeping your eyes open, giving yourself the information that you need. Good. Ideally, you just retest the same way every time, but know that like obviously if something feels really good, you might even be like searching for pain, and that could be a tricky part of it. You want to make sure that you are always giving yourself a truthful assessment, but trying not to look too hard for that pain either. Don't take it past the point of no return. Phantom closing. Of course that popped out. Okay, great. Let's do our little assessment. I'm gonna do my forward bend. Sort of reset now. Yeah, so I still have a general, it's gotten better from just doing a few drills this morning, but it's still a bit tight. Okay, your saccades are going to go like this. You're gonna have 2 points. Paige, I would say bring these a little bit closer. Let's start with them pretty close. So maybe about a foot apart. And then, do you have a question or? No, okay. So you're gonna have 2 points and you're gonna snap from target to target. We're gonna make sure that that stays as clear as possible. This can be further out or it can be close. Breathe, and we'll do this about 20 times. Seated or standing. If this starts to feel difficult, bring it in closer. Keep breathing. Notice your tendency to hold breath, if you have that. And reassess. Eyes open, Kim. Oh, good. Follow your own advice. There we go. That's pretty good. Assess. Oh yeah, hello, floor. Much better. Yeah, that feels pretty nice. Good. Okay, we're gonna try the other direction, but any thoughts, feelings about that one? Any better, any worse, or just the same?
My range of motion on my right side was better, but my voice is a little stiff.
Oh, so
So
I wonder if you take another assessment now, 10 seconds later, if that has had a chance to integrate. Try that again.
yeah, that is better. And my neck isn't like, whoa, like super, super bendy.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting. It might, be worth your while to just check. I typically in presentations I talk about it being, the speed of the nervous system. It changes instantaneous. However, we aren't 268 miles long. That's the measurement that is on all of these like neuro slides that I pull from sometimes. And as you think about that, your nervous system might take a few more seconds to integrate that information. It could certainly be part of that because you do wear glasses. That is part of your integration system.
Yeah.
So if you have a discrepancy there, that might just take another couple of seconds to reassess. Okay, and make sure that there are no other inputs. but it might be interesting just to decide, okay, have I actually processed this new information in the next instant, or do I need to wait, take a breath, and then go?
Okay.
Okay, this might be a thought. Sarah, any change for you?
My mobility was better.
Okay, cool.
Voice-wise, I'm not sure. I think it was the same.
What's your assessment for voice? You doing a phrase? You doing a scale?
Yeah, I did the lower scale you were doing. Yeah.
Okay, great. Like, hey, like that. Okay,
That one.
cool. All right, so in that A vowel, make sure it's consistent each time. Make sure we're in a slightly higher tongue position. You could fluff it up in the back if you want to think about that. And then that we're not going to the diphthong too much. Hey, okay, just make sure that that's consistent however you're doing it. Great, so let's try, that was side to side. Saccades, I say saccades, it's probably potato, saccades, saccades, but I'm gonna say saccades. All right, then let's try up and down with this. So again, try not to make this crazy far in your field of motion, or field of vision rather. Make this about a foot right now or less. And then we're gonna snap target to target. I'm gonna move away from this light. Snap. And we'll do that 20 times, calming your breath. Ooh, I've got quite a saliva response. This is good. Usually means vagus nerve stimulation. Relax your neck and your jaw. Anything that's trying to help you with this motion, it's just the eyeballs invited to the party. Keep breathing, chill out, and reassess. Yeah, Audie really likes that. Ooh, my breathing feels different. Hey, yeah. I suddenly feel quite a bit more relaxed. Motion is definitely much better. Anybody else out there? Pretty good? Good response? Sarah, good for you too? Okay, awesome. All right, so that's saccades. I'm just gonna show you what this is like with OKN strips. You can decide if this is something you want to experiment with. So I've never done this through Zoom on Zoom before, but hey mom, she's calling, of course. All right, I'll call her later. So what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna look at this on the screen. Oh, it's kind of blurry, I know. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Okay, call failed. There we go. Now you're just gonna let your eyes snap from target to target. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. So snap from like red line, red line, red line, red line. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. See if that gets any better or worse. If that's harder. Ooh, this is really hard for me. It's a little blurry. There we go. Keep breathing. Just do 2 more seconds and release. See how you did? That's weird. Oh my gosh! Well, definitely, yeah. Even sitting behind it and looking at it, I gained like 3 inches. I'm gonna mute myself so you can sing and not hear me. Well, now I wish I kind of didn't mute myself because that was really freaking good. That was probably my best test today. Anybody else? Was that super weird? Give me some feedback as to how that was over the screen.
I just have a tendency to fuzz out. Like if it's moving, I'm like, okay, well, we're just not going to look at this. And so it's really hard for me to even, like, I was the kid in marching band that never watched a football game because I didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
There was too much going on. And so in 4 years, I didn't understand the game of football. So, part of that was selective attention. But yeah, if there's too much going on, my eyes just tend to phase out. And so it was like a big struggle, like to kind of redirect myself to look at the lines. I think it'll be easier when it's on my own phone and I'm not like looking.
Yeah, well,
into
and
the
it
room.
may just be also that it's a screen page. So it might be better for you to have one of these ropes that are it's sort of like it looks like a knitted rope, like a Where's Waldo scarf. And you
Mhm.
just go side to side with it and you snap, like,
Mhm.
right? I'll look up the name of it and send that to you, but
Okay.
it might be an interesting thing for you to, in our eye unit when we go through it. I'll dive a little deeper into that and look at the steps prior to what that is. I mean, that's going to be on our first day actually, because it'll be cranial nerve testing. But we'll have a deeper dive into eyes the next week. So saccades, which one did you test better on?
I think the up and down actually.
Up and down. Okay. That makes sense because we're constantly looking down at our phones, right? So our brain knows that pattern really well. And
Mhm.
the side to side, if that was harder for you, if you think about that, I mean, it's basically the same skill, except we're snapping from target
Mhm.
target and it's moving. So then we're like looking at it and we're adding gaze, not gaze stabilization, but tracking with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it might be worth your while to do that at a slower speed on your phone on OKN strips, or you can do it with an actual like physical target,
Okay.
striped scarf, maybe.
Mhm.
You have one, something like that. Cool. Okay, Sarah, any response to that one?
Yeah, I found it hard to focus on it, but but then I figured out if my brain had started saying red, red, red every time I jumped to the next red, I was like red, 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 red. That was helpful.
Okay.
It
Okay.
made me a little dizzy, but yeah, but I did test better after.
Okay, wow. Well, it's again probably the fuzziness of the screens. So that thank you for indulging me. That was helpful to know. And if there's a better way for me to figure out maybe doing that on YouTube or something else online, then I'll try that next time. But I'm sure that the actual physical movement is similar on Zoom because it's still a screen. Okay, so if that one was interesting, this one is going to be a little bit of a challenge for my brain. We'll see how you guys do. This is called the Stroop test. Here it is. Okay, so stroop means we are basically going to say the color out loud, not the word. And you're going to read from right to left. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try like 3 lines. I'm going to say them out loud. I'm going to go on mute. You guys say them out loud. Here we go. Okay, stop where you are, reassess. Ugh, yep, and I'm on the floor. Reassess my singing. Okay, how'd you do?
By the third line, I was struggling, but the first 2 lines, it was okay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, my brain was fine with it for about the first line too, and the second and third I was like really mad. I was like, wait, no, and I had to keep correcting. So I just Googled this because I wanted to make sure that I had this right. But the Stroop test is assessing our ability to inhibit cognitive interference, which occurs when we're processing a new stimulus. So this is something that is, again, helping us with attention, because we're having to make a decision about, wait, that information is not correct, and changing it. And it's bringing more focus into our brain and the inputs. So we are inhibiting the sort of initial response. Oh, this is the word that it is, and then changing it to correct it. It's used in ADHD treatments, but I have not been diagnosed with ADHD, but I find it helpful. Through this pandemic, I have certainly had some tendencies where I either get hyper focused or I cannot figure out a damn task. I will start 20 of them. But that has been something that has been beneficial for me, and particularly when I'm assessing this at my chiropractor's office, who is a Z Health professional, it tends to correct my gait, my walking, which is fantastic, because then the whole rest of the day I have a much better sense of like each repetition in my body. All right, questions about that? No, in the Stroop test? Great. Awesome. So this will be available to you. If the Stroop test sounded interesting to you, you can like take a picture of it on your phone and keep it there and refer back to it if you are feeling a little bit scattered. It certainly has been kind of helpful for me. And then definitely a really interesting result in terms of students that come in and tell me, I have ADHD, it's really bad today, things like that. So if that is helpful, fantastic. I think that's all I have for you all today. Great. Any questions, concerns about habits, about what your specific tendencies are and how you can start to integrate them together? I feel like I may have had one last slide on here and I don't remember if I actually did. Oh, yeah, just remember your guidelines for your goals need to be measurable, attainable, reasonable, and specific. And I'm going to add a little bit of fun, because that will make your brain want to do it. Great. If y'all don't have anything else, I'm gonna let you like enjoy the rest of your day. And if you need anything, I will be live on Friday doing a little bit of mobility, and maybe thinking about getting some ideas for what we're going to do next month in terms of theming the month. I do have a sort of 5-day inhibition challenge, so we'll be doing more of these frontal lobe drills and things that may help us with inhibiting the first brain. That's going to start next week. Where do I have it on the calendar? It might actually start today. Let's see. Well, I'll get back to you on that in post. It's either today or next week. Okay, friends, have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.